Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I am filming the video I love most to film, I think, every single year. It is my most anticipated books of next year, 2022. So the day before filming this, on the Friday, I posted out a tweet and an Instagram post basically saying, publishers, get in touch, let me know what your big books for 2022 are. And I just want to say, firstly, a huge thank you to everyone who replied to that message to tell me your most anticipated books of next year. I'm hugely grateful because I got some amazing suggestions. There were absolutely loads that I just couldn't include because otherwise this would be a 3-hour video. Like, honestly guys, the amazing suggestions I got, I think you should all check out. So I'm going to leave a link to the actual tweet where loads of amazing publishers and industry folk replied letting me know what their big books of 2022 were. So if you're interested and you want more recommendations off the back of this video, then I do really recommend checking out my tweet and looking through the replies to that because there are going to be some amazing books out in 2022. So anyway, I feel like I should just get cracking because I have so many books to talk about today that I probably will be here for ages. So get yourself a cup of tea or a coffee. I've got myself a nice warming cup of coffee on this very dreary December day as I'm filming this, and I think you should just get cozy. Get a notebook out, get your phone ready in terms of like noting down what books sound up your street, ready to pre-order, and let's get cracking with today's video. So these books are in order of publication, so please do listen to the publication dates, and I'll also leave all the books down in the description bar where you can go onto them and pre-order them if you wish. So the first book is This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi, and this is publishing on the 1st of February. So I had to include this book when I read the synopsis. This is the next kind of YA fantasy series from Tahereh Mafi, who is one of my favourite all-time fantasy dystopian authors. She wrote the incredible Shatter Me trilogy, or well, it's more than a trilogy now, it's like a whole series of books. But I absolutely adore her writing, and I am super excited that she has a new kind of fantasy series out. In the UK, it's being published by Farshore Books, and it is described as clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. Best-selling author Tahereh Mafi's first in an epic romantic trilogy inspired by Persian mythology. So this has like every single buzzword in it that is just right for me. Forbidden romance, a kind of clashing war atmosphere, and then also it's inspired by mythology, which I absolutely love. If a book is inspired by some form of mythology, I'm already signed up. I'm already halfway to the bookstore buying this book. And the fact that it's inspired by Persian mythology, I haven't read any books that are inspired by Persian mythology. So I am super excited about this Woven Kingdom. The cover is chef's kiss. Stunning. I love it. And I'm just super hyped for this one. I'm not even going to like look too much about what the plot is because I know I want to go into this fresh, and I think I might have a proof copy on the way. Maybe I have put in a request for a proof, so fingers crossed. I will be reading this very soon before publication, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Okay, so the next book is also a February publication, and it's probably one of my most anticipated books of the year. It is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas, and this is publishing on the 15th of February. So Sarah J Maas is probably always going to feature on my most anticipated lists because I'm a super fangirl when it comes to Sarah J Maas's fantasy worlds. But House of Sky and Breath is the second book in her adult fantasy. It's more of like an urban fantasy series called Crescent City. And it's the follow-up to the first book, House of Earth and Blood. I nearly didn't get that. But this is obviously House of Sky and Breath and features Hunt and Bryce, our main characters, on the kind of after effects of the first book and the kind of fallout of that, where let's just say a lot of things happened. I'm not going to go into what this book is about because I think there probably are spoilers, and if you haven't read House of Earth and Blood yet, please do go read it. It is so good. It's very long, and I suspect House of Sky and Breath will be just as long, so I'll have to block out a whole month to read this book, but I'm not going to complain because it's a new Sarah J Maas book and she has done something super special in the Crescent City universe, and it just feels really fresh. It feels really exciting. The fact that it is an urban fantasy series compared to her more like traditional, you know, fairy-based fantasy series of her other 2 YA series. It just feels really fresh and different. So I'm super excited for this next installment in her Crescent City series, coming out on the 15th of February by Bloomsbury. I've also pre-ordered 2 editions, the Waterstone Special Edition and the Event Edition, which is like the edition you get if you attend her virtual event. And I'm prepared to have many copies of this book. I don't even care, just take my money, Bloomsbury, it's fine. So the next book I wanted to talk about is another fantasy magical realism-esque book, and this is The Gifts by Liz Hyder, and this is publishing on the 17th of February by Bonnier. So this is like historical fiction meets magical realism with fantastical elements. So this book sounds actually incredible. It's set in 1840 and it's about a woman who is kind of walking through the forest when all of a sudden she sprouts these massive amazing wings, and basically she causes quite the stir in London, Victorian London, and people want to know who she is. They're desperate for more information about this woman. And then one man becomes quite obsessed with the idea of her, I believe, based on the description. It says, a gripping and ambitious book told through 5 different perspectives and set against the luminous backdrop of 19th century London. It explores science, nature and religion, enlightenment, the role of women in society, and the dark danger of ambition. So this is Liz Hyder's adult debut, and honestly, this sounds like everything I love in a book. You've got the historical elements, check. You've got the fantastical elements, check. And you've got the kind of darkness that surrounds that. I am just so here for it. And I definitely think this is one to pre-order on the 17th of February. Okay, so now we're moving into March. And my first most anticipated book of March is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. So this is publishing on the 1st of March. And I believe Titan Books is the publisher of V.E. Schwab in the UK. And I assume we'll be publishing this book. So this is described as The Secret Garden meets Crimson Peak. Is it possible to find a better description of a novel? I think not. I love V.E. Schwab's magical fantasy worlds, and Gallant sounds even more incredible than anything else she's written. So the description says, everything casts a shadow, even the world we live in. And with every shadow, there is a place where it must touch. A seam where the shadow meets its source. #1 New York Times bestselling author Victoria Schwab weaves a dark and original tale about the place where the world meets its shadow and the young woman beckoned by both sides. I also have a feeling that this book features like a big house, it's a very kind of setting focused novel where, like Crimson Peak, it's kind of set in a big grand house. Honestly, that sounds amazing, so sign me up. Gallant is publishing on the 1st of March, and I'm going to be pre-ordering this one because I cannot wait. It sounds amazing. Okay, so the next book is publishing from Chicken House Books, and it is The Balloon Thief by Aneesa Marufu. And this is publishing on the 3rd of March. So this is being described as this year's must-read YA fantasy. It features ancient jinn, so like genie, I guess, an epic adventure and one girl's courage to seek her own destiny. So this basically features a woman who is trying to escape from an arranged marriage organised by her father, and the only way to escape is to the sky. So she spots a rogue hot air balloon and goes up to the hot air balloon basically, and there she finds an ally in glassmaker's apprentice Jacob. But I believe Jacob and our main character are from different kind of countries, opposing sides basically, and there is that kind of tension between them where they are from very, very different backgrounds and very different groups. So honestly, this just sounds amazing, and what a cool concept for a novel like set in a hot air balloon. So it's like hot air balloons meets like a fantasy world and like djinn and magic. Honestly, I am so pumped for this. So this one's publishing on the 3rd of March. Thank you to Chicken House Books for kindly reaching out and telling me about this book. I am so happy I heard about it because wow, this sounds amazing. The next book is publishing on the 31st of March, and this is Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. And this is published by Orbit Books in the UK. So this, I believe, is like a historical fantasy, magical realism-esque book, and basically takes place after the events of the First World War, where it says a young woman gets swept into a glittering world filled with illicit magic, romance, blood debts, and murder in this lush and decadent debut novel. On Crow Island, people whispered, real magic lurked just below the surface, but Annie Mason never expected her enigmatic new neighbour to be a witch. It says, a world where magic can buy what money cannot, a world where the consequence of a forbidden blood bargain might be death. So this sounds like super dark, super magical, so I'm super excited about Wild and Wicked Things, and this is publishing on the 31st of March. And then I had to shout out the next book, which is publishing on the 19th of April. This is Twin Crowns by Catherine Webber and Catherine Doyle. So Katie Webber and Catherine Doyle are both like two of my most favourite authors ever. Cat Doyle wrote the amazing Mafiosa series and also is the author of lots of brilliant middle grade books as well. And Katie Webber is the writer of lots of amazing YA books, including Wing Jones and Only Love Can Break Your Heart, as well as picture books and also I think middle grade as well. Basically, they have written everything, and they are also two of the most loveliest people in UK publishing. So when I heard that Katie and Kat are writing a novel together that is basically about like fantasy worlds, sisters, romance, I was like, sign me up to Twin Crowns. So the description says, forgive me if I'm reading off my phone a lot, but I can't possibly remember all the descriptions of the books. So this is really helping me. But anyway, it says, Wren Greenock has always known that one day she would steal her sister's place in the palace. Trained from birth to avenge her parents' murder and usurp the princess, she will do anything to rise to power and protect the community of witches she loves. Princess Rose Valhart knows that with power comes responsibility, including marriage into a brutal kingdom. Life outside the palace walls is a place to be feared, and she's soon to discover it is wilder than she's ever imagined. Two sisters separated at birth and raised into entirely different worlds are about to get to know each other's lives a whole lot better. But who will ultimately rise to power and wear the crown? This honestly sounds amazing, and I'm so excited to read this book and shout about it from the rooftops. I just have full confidence in Katie and Kat's writing, and I know this book will be so good, so please do pre-order it if you can. So we are now getting into May, which, let me just say, May 2022 is where every single book is publishing. Like, the amount of books I have to tell you about in May is honestly astonishing. So first off, we have Book of Night by Holly Black. One of my most anticipated books of the year. Is publishing on the 3rd of May, and this is Holly Black's adult debut novel. So Holly Black, I'm already a huge super fan of. I'll read anything she puts out. You know, the Folk of the Air series is one of my all-time favorite series, so we stan Holly Black. But this book, I think, may be even better. It says, a modern dark fantasy of shadowy thieves and secret societies in the vein of Ninth House and the Night Circus. In Charlie Hall's world, shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. You can alter someone's feelings and memories, but manipulating shadows has a cost, with the potential to take hours or days from your life. So honestly, this sounds like incredible, especially if it's being compared to Ninth House. Like, Ninth House was amazing and so up my street, so I have full confidence that Book of Night is going to be 10 out of 10 amazing. And guys, I'm super pumped about this book. Like, I just want all of these books right now, please. So anyway, yeah, this is publishing 3rd of May and it's publishing by Del Rey Books, I believe. Okay, so the next book is coming out on the 4th of May. This is Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. So this is the prequel book to We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, which, if you were here in old school booktube times, like I'm talking like 2013 when I started my channel, I'm an oldie, what can I say? We Were Liars was like the hot thing going around. Like, everyone was filming videos about We Were Liars. It was everywhere, and it still remains to me one of the most standout YA books ever because of that twist, you know? If you haven't read We Were Liars yet, I would urge you to. It is a contemporary YA novel that has a shocking twist. I would say it's like kind of in a thrillery vein, but basically Family of Liars is the prequel, and it's basically about the Sinclair family who we meet in We Were Liars. So this book takes readers back to the story of another summer, another generation, and the secrets that will haunt them for decades to come. A windswept private island off the coast of Massachusetts, a hungry ocean churning with secrets and sorrow, a fiery, addicted heiress, an irresistible, unpredictable boy. Welcome back to the Sinclair family. They were always liars. This sounds amazing. I'm so excited about this book. And this is publishing on the 4th of May by Hotkey Books. Okay, so the next book that was brought to my attention is Children of Sugarcane by Joanne Joseph. And this is publishing on the 5th of May. So this book sounds super harrowing, but super important and just all around brilliant. So it says, Shanti, a bright teenager stifled by life in rural India and facing an arranged marriage, dreams of South Africa as an opportunity to start fresh. The colony of Natal is where Shanti believes she can escape the poverty, caste and troubling fate of young girls in her village. Months later, after a harrowing sea voyage, she arrives in Natal only to discover the profound hardship and arduous labour that awaits her. Spanning 4 decades and 2 continents, Children of Sugarcane demonstrates the life-giving power of love, heartache, and the indestructible bonds of family and friends. This sounds like super important, super great, because I really love cross-generational novels. I really love novels that kind of span the generations. And this sounds like it's going to be emotional, but I also think it's probably essential reading. The next book is another super important sounding one. It's Take My Hand by Dolen Perkins-Valdez, and it's publishing on the 12th of May by Orion Books. So this is actually inspired by a true story. So it follows a nurse at the family planning clinic in Montgomery, Alabama, who is passionate about putting choice into women's hands. She brings up the option of birth control to their doorsteps, and with it the right to determine their own destinies. But when she's assigned to administer birth control to 2 school-age black girls, the Williams sisters, who live off an unpaved road in a shack without running water, she can't help but feel uneasy and not happy about that. She grows close to the family and becomes fiercely invested in their well-being. And then she makes a shocking discovery. The girls have been involuntarily sterilized. She is so horrified that such a terrible mistake could have taken place and vows to get to the bottom of it. Based on true events, Take My Hand brims with hope, compassion, and the burning pursuit of justice. This sounds like it's going to be the most harrowing, emotional book, but I think, like, as it is inspired by true events, it's also important reading. So huge thanks to Orion Books for putting this on my radar. I'm super excited about this book. I think it will be one of those books that I'm hoping everyone will be talking about. So Take My Hand is publishing on the 12th of May, and I'll leave a link down in the description bar where you can check it out. Okay, the next book is publishing on the 12th of May again, and this book is a debut fantasy book, and it is called Collarbound by Rebecca Zahabi. This is published in the UK in May by Gallant Books. So this is about 2 people, an escaped slave and an amnesiac mage, who discover that their pasts are entwined. And basically this was kind of pitched as a novel on the brink of war, and the comparison was to the Poppy War. And I was like, if this book is like the Poppy War, I'm already on board for it. So I'm super hyped about this book, as I believe this book kind of takes place on the brink of war, and 2 people whose lives are intertwined and have to kind of figure that out. And this obviously is a debut fantasy novel, so I'm super keen to see what the author's writing style is like, and I'm just all round pumped for this book. It sounds really brilliant. So Collarbound is out on the 12th of May, and I'll leave links down below. Okay, so moving into June, the next book I want to just quickly flag is BFFs by Claire Cohen, who is an amazing journalist, and I'm super excited to read BFFs because this is basically a study and exploration of female friendship. So BFF publishes on the 23rd of June from Bantam Press in the UK, and it is described as an antidote to the idea that every woman must belong to the perfect girl gang. This book is a reassuring guide to help women answer for themselves. Have we lost it? Are we still friends? Is there too much to catch up on? And it will take a close look at society's most underappreciated relationship, which is friendship, to interrogate what modern friendship actually means. So I am super into books like this, where basically it explores something that we all take for granted, really. But I would say friendships are one of the most complex relationships of your life. They ebb and flow, you lose people, people come into your life at different times, and it's like, I am super excited to see what this book actually will cover. It also says it features interviews with amazing women like Daisy Buchanan, Pandora Sykes, Jilly Cooper. So it's bringing in different female voices, and that sounds honestly incredible. So BFFs is out in June. I will leave a link down below, but This sounds super awesome. Okay, we are almost at the end now. The next book I just quickly want to mention for a June publication date is Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is publishing on the 28th of June. So Blade Breaker, guys. I am anticipating this book so much because Victoria Aveyard just smashed it out of the park with Realm Breaker, which was the first book in a new fantasy series, fantasy YA series, that is honestly one of the most ambitious but brilliant fantasy novels I've read in a very, very long time. It basically follows the B team. So what if the heroes didn't manage to save the world? What if the B team, the people who just aren't the best and maybe they are a bit flawed, what if it's up to them to save the world? Realm Breaker completely blew me away last year, and honestly, like, I am so excited about Blade Breaker and what's gonna happen there, because let's just say Realm Breaker kind of ended on a dramatic note and has also made the stakes a lot higher. So Victoria, I am not ready for what you're about to do here. So I am going to be pre-ordering this book and counting down the days until Blade Breaker is out. If you haven't already read Realm Breaker, the first book in the series, I would really urge you to do so because it was one of my favourite books of 2021. And then moving swiftly on to a July publication. This is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. This is by Gabrielle Zevin. So this book I am seeing everywhere, all over Twitter, because the proof copies of this book are so cool and so like nerdy and awesome. And this book is already getting a lot of hype, which I'm really pleased to see. And this is publishing in July. So this is described as a glorious and immersive novel about two childhood friends, once estranged, who reunite as adults to create video games, finding an intimacy in digital worlds that eludes them in their real lives. It says Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is a dazzling and intricately imagined novel that examines the multifarious nature of identity, games as art forms, technology and the human experience, disability, failure, and the redemptive possibilities in play. And above all, our need to connect, to be loved and to love. Yes, it is a love story, but it is not one that you've read before. This sounds like amazing, and the type of love story, the type of romance I would like to see more of is kind of the real world romances that are a bit techy, and I love the fact that this is all about video games. I am a bit of a video game nerd myself. I can't wait to read this book. It's coming out in July, so it's really far away, but I will leave a link down below. Put it on your list if you can. And I'm super pumped about this. Okay, so the next book is coming out in August, and this is publishing on the 23rd of August. And this is the new book from R.F. Kuang, guys. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this book. It's called Babel, or The Necessity of Violence. This sounds amazing. This honestly sounds incredible. 1828, Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lovell. There he trains for years in Latin, Ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. Babel is the world's centre of translation and, more importantly, of silverworking, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation through enchanted silver bars to magical effect. Silverworking has made the British Empire unparalleled in power, and Babel's research in foreign languages serves the Empire's quest to colonise everything it encounters. So it says Babel, a thematic response to The Secret History and a tonal response to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, grapples with student revolutions, colonial resistance, and use of translation as a tool of empire. I mean, there is so much to talk about in this book. I've never heard of something so original. Like, this sounds super original. And if it's R.F. Kuang, I'm already signed up, because the Poppy War series, incredible. Like, honestly, I can't urge you enough to read R.F. Kuang if you haven't already. This sounds super amazing because obviously it's kind of like a inclusive and diverse dark academia themed book. The fact that it's really shining a light on colonialization is super important, and also amazing that someone's actually writing a novel about this, because like, it just sounds so good. So this is publishing on the 23rd of August by Harper Voyager in the UK. I am already signed up and I cannot wait for this book. And finally, guys, we have made it to the end of this super long video. My throat hurts from talking so much, but I had to give this book a mention because it is probably my most anticipated book of the year of 2022. I'm giving it that title because it sounds so amazing. It already has my soul, okay? And this book is Kingdom of the Feared by Kerri Maniscalco, which has just been said is publishing in 2022, but I reckon will be publishing like October or November 2022, as that's the usual publication schedule for the previous two books. So this is the third and what I think will be final book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which started out with Kingdom of the Wicked, and then this year was Kingdom of the Cursed. And basically what Kerri Maniscalco did in that second book, Kingdom of the Cursed, was write the most perfect sequel, the most perfect second book I've ever read in my life. This series is just absolute perfection, and it's basically a historic Italian setting which features witches and demons and princes of hell and witchcraft and high stakes. Oh, and also a hell of a lot of romance, so I'm signing you guys up for that. So honestly, you need to prepare yourselves because this series is awesome. The third book I am so hyped about because let's just say the second book ended really dramatically, and I just don't think I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna need to get the smelling salts out because I'm not prepared. I don't think any of us are prepared for this third book, and Kerri Maniscalco, I will be counting down the days for this book. She's my queen. Anyway, I just needed to talk about Kingdom of the Feared because we have a title now. I really, really love the title, and I'm super, super pumped for this book. So that is it for my most anticipated books of 2022. Thank you so, so much for watching, and please do check out my tweet where a lot of amazing publishing people have replied with the books that they're publishing or they're most looking forward to in 2022. And I couldn't fit everything in this video, but I really do appreciate everyone who submitted, you know, books and suggested books for this video. I really, really appreciate your input. And if you're watching this and want to find out more, please do look at that tweet. Also, all the books mentioned today are in the description bar below, so please do check them out. And that's it for this video. Thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for sticking around this long. And I'll see you very, very soon for lots more exciting videos. Bye.